Hello everyone, I am Bets Golden. Today I am super excited to share with you, finally, watercolor paint. I love this stuff and I had a little bit of a learning curve when I first started with it. This is from Royal Talon and it comes in these tubes like their acrylic as well as their gouache, and it's really thick, but you can obviously water it down with water. When I first tried this on day 2 and 3 of my 30 days of painting, I had a hard time with it simply because I was still experimenting with it. And so I had wet the paper and then tried to paint on it. And that's one technique to do it, but I wasn't really mastering it. So today I decided to try it like this. And I really had so much fun with it and loved how it turned out. So I'm just using a couple colors, not all of them that are in the selection. If you want to see what is included in this box, go ahead and click on the links provided for you down below. Those are affiliated links. And I have everything I'm using listed there, or something that is comparable to that. It is listed down below. So make sure you check out that, as well as products that I am just using in general to paint with for the next 30 days. And so I finally feel like I had something worth sharing and something I learned that would be helpful to you if you've never used this type of medium before. So these are a little bit different than your typical watercolor that you grew up with as a kid, which now they make beautiful watercolor blocks like we use in the art industry. These can go on thick like this, and then they obviously react with water, or you can thin them out by spraying them. So I had a lot of fun with this. It makes it a lot of fun to shade and shadow. And I wanted to just do some flowers, some basic, whimsical, beautiful, colorful flowers. And I went ahead and just started creating. I'm using the red right here, and then I wanted to go in and fill in that white now that I have the basic premise of what these flowers are supposed to look like. And they just blend lovely. And also by using the water over those lines, it allowed my lines to just be smooth almost. Really a lot of fun. I really, really enjoy this paint. And I had to play with it though right away because I had never played with a watercolor like this before. So it took me a couple days to figure it out. At the end of this series, I will do a walkthrough of my art album and I'll show you everything that I did. I'm obviously not filming and sharing. Well, I am filming everything. I'm just not sharing everything I film because some of it's really bad and it will leave you frustrated. And I don't want to do that. And those 2 days were frustrating. But because I worked through the frustration and I kept going, I was able to create this and really learn how this paint moves and what it reacts with and whatnot. So, sometimes you got to do that. You got to just play with it, realize you're not going to like your end product, but understand that it is a journey and a process and get lost in that and appreciate it for what it is. I also am keeping those pages in my art journal page. Book, I should say. I'm not tearing them out. I'm going to own them, because at the end of this, I can go back through and see my growth, and just see how I learned it, what I learned with the progress I made. It's just a nice reminder for me. Plus I'm creating some pretty awesome pieces in this, or pieces that I think are awesome and I really enjoy. My style is super colorful and whimsical. I'm a novice painter. The reason why I'm painting for 30 days is so that I can learn. I want to learn. My grandma was an artist. She actually painted with oil paints, and she created beautiful work. She taught me a little bit back in the day. I think I've forgotten most of it. I don't consider myself to be a painter, an artist in this form. So I'm not real neat. I'm kind of sloppy. And I just have fun with it. I love that whimsical look, and my art usually reflects that. I like to do things out in nature. That's one tip I want to give you guys. when you do things out of nature, nothing has to be perfectly straight or perfectly symmetrical. Whenever you try to do a bridge or buildings or things that you think would be easy, those end up being challenging because you can't draw a straight line, much less paint a straight line free-handed, usually, unless you're super practiced. So I say go for the flowers because every petal is different. Go for the sunsets. Every sunset's different and it's not perfect. If it was perfect, it wouldn't look natural. And I like to do this. This looks more like a flower because it is so imperfect. And I really like the imperfections of it all. So for these two flowers, I used blue and I pretty much did those lines without watering them down. And then I went back through, I mixed some water into my paint and I lightened it up. And then I applied that. And that just allowed me to keep those lines a little bit intact. When at the end, I'm going to go back through and color all of it in. Now, I may go back through after I'm done filming this and use my white gel pen to just add some highlights. I like to do that as well. I love using white at the very end to add in some highlights and whatnot. And the idea really just came to me right now. But look how pretty that is. It really blends nicely. And that yellow that I used in the background is not playing too much into it. That flower's not green. It definitely still is blue. So if you want to build on this, you definitely want to make sure that you go from your lightest to your darkest. I don't think it would have worked if I would have done a blue background and then yellow flowers with this watercolor paint, but going from the yellow, and actually the yellow is almost kind of a green because I had washed out my palette, but I think there's a little bit of residual blue left over. And when I dump the yellow into it, squirt the yellow into it and mix it up with some water, it did go slightly green, but I really like how it looks. So I was totally okay with it. Now I'm just creating some leaves. Leaves are actually some of my very favorite things to create. I think that they're super duper fun. And the veins are like my very favorite. I did take a watercolor class in which I was taught how to create leaves on a vine. So I'll do that a little bit later. But this was just a lot of fun to color this in. And I'm really trying to camouflage right now some of that white that's still left over because I tried to leave a little bit of an open space on where my flowers were going to go. And that's something that I'm doing in my art journaling. Again, you guys, I am a novice painter. I haven't had any like fine art classes. My grandma was a professional painter. She taught me when I was like 7, a couple basics, literally one afternoon. And I kind of think I frustrated her so much that she didn't do it again. She was trying to work on a piece and she had me start something and I had a lot of questions. It disturbed what she was trying to do and I think I irritated her. So I've always been kind of scared. I probably will never do oil paint because she was an oil painter and that to me is very intimidating. So I am nervous when I paint. Don't get me wrong, my grandma was not a horrible person. She wasn't mean, nothing like that. But, she was trying to paint a picture and so was I. And she was patient with me and she taught me things. But I could definitely tell that she wanted to do what she needed to do. But don't go hating on my grandma. No need for that. So anyway, this was just, I ended up really happy with this, this whole piece right here. And I actually end up using some black to finish it off and give it some definition because it looks a little bit to me, a little fuzzy. And so I go back through and I darken up some of those lines with the pure paint on the roses, and then I finish it off with the black watercolor. And again, this is watercolor. Can you believe it? It's just really cool. Royal Talens does a wonderful job with all of their paints. I mean, they are just top notch. And I wanted to give you guys a little bit of history with them. I don't know if you know, but they've been in the industry for, I think, about 100 years, if not more. They're out of Holland, and they do a lot of community service. One of the things that they do is they give paint to children in situations where they don't have a lot of possibilities to get out of their situation. So underprivileged kids, they let the child paint their piece, and then they turn around, they sell it, and the proceeds go to help that kid. So that's something that they do, is they provide the paint and the material for those children, and then whatever the painting sells for, they give that proceed to the child. They have a lot of lines too. They have an economical line, which would be for kids and also for novices. So for people who don't know if this is something that they want to do, they have a line that's for that. And then they have like a medium grade line, and then they have a higher end line for the professional artist. Obviously, the higher end line is going to be more pigmented and just a really good quality, and you're paying for that. But I love that they have some different lines in there depending on the type of art you're doing, and depending on if you're just trying out or whatnot. You're not out a huge investment if you decide that you don't want to paint, or it's not for you. So I think that's really great. I've used all their lines, and they're all really good. They do the job. And so I don't think you can go wrong with any of them. Really, they're great. And I do have everything listed down below for you too. If you guys enjoy this kind of content, make sure that you subscribe to my channel. And if you enjoy the video, please give it a thumbs up. The algorithm really likes that. And then if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. So I'm going to put on a song or two and watch you guys, or let you guys just watch me finish this up.